Hello! We're excited to show you our native speech capabilities. Welcome back to the English journey. Today, we are talking to the person who feels like quitting. We are here to say, don't give up on yourself. I'm Anna.
And I'm Abel. I have been there. I have closed my books and thought, maybe English just isn't for me. Today, we want to help you push through that feeling.
And if you are listening to us right now and you feel tired or slow or like you are not improving, this episode is made just for you. We are speaking slowly today so that every word is clear, every sentence has meaning, so please stay with us.
Yes, stay with us because in the next 20 minutes, we want you to feel something shift inside of you. We want you to remember why you started learning English in the first place, and we want you to find the energy to keep going.
Let's begin with something very honest, something that not many teachers talk about. At some point in your English journey, maybe last week, maybe last night, maybe this morning, you looked at yourself and thought, I am not good enough.
Oh, I know that feeling very well. I remember sitting at my desk with my English textbook open. I was reading the same paragraph for the third time, and I still did not understand it. And I thought, what is wrong with me? Why is this so hard?
And that feeling, that heavy, frustrating feeling, is one of the most common experiences for any language learner. It doesn't matter if you are studying English, Spanish, Japanese, or any other language. There is always a moment when you feel like the wall in front of you is too tall to climb.
And the dangerous thing about that moment is that it feels very real. It feels like proof, like your brain is saying, see, I told you, you are not made for this. Other people can do it, but not you.
But here's what we want you to understand from the very beginning of today's conversation. That feeling of I am not good enough is not proof that you are failing. It is a normal part of learning. It visits every single person who is trying to grow. Every person, without exception.
That is so important, because when we feel that way, we think we're alone. We think everyone else is moving forward, and we're the only ones standing still.
Exactly. And that's one of the biggest lies that our minds tell us. So today, we're going to talk about why progress slows down, what is actually happening when it feels like nothing is happening, how to talk to yourself in a kinder and more helpful way, and why keeping going, even very slowly, is the most powerful thing you can do.
I love that plan. Let's start with the first big topic. Why does progress slow down? Because I remember when I first started studying English seriously, in the beginning, everything felt exciting. I was learning new words every single day. I could feel myself improving. And then one day, it just stopped, or it felt like it stopped.
Yes, this is called the plateau effect. The word plateau, P-L-A-T-E-A-U, plateau, it's a word that comes from French, and it describes a flat area of land. Imagine you are climbing a mountain. At first, you go up quickly. Every step takes you higher. But then you reach a flat part of the mountain. You are still walking, you are still working hard, but you're not going up anymore. You're just moving across a flat surface.
And that flat surface feels terrible when you're a language learner.
It does, because in the beginning of learning anything new, progress is very fast and very visible. You go from knowing 0 words to knowing 100 words. That's an enormous change. You can feel it, you can see it. It's exciting.
Right. I remember I could have a small conversation after just a few weeks, and I thought, wow, I'm going to be fluent in 6 months.
And that's completely natural. But here's the truth about learning. After those first exciting weeks and months, the growth becomes slower, not because you are failing, but because you are moving into deeper, more complex parts of the language. You are no longer learning simple words like hello and goodbye. Now you are working on grammar structures, on pronunciation, on understanding fast native speakers. This is much harder work.
And because it's harder, the results are slower to appear, so we feel like we're not moving at all.
Exactly. Researchers and educators who study language learning have a name for this period. Some call it the intermediate plateau, some call it the testing zone. And it's the place where most people, not some people, most people decide to quit.
Most people quit right there? Wow, that's a difficult truth.
It is, but it's also a very hopeful truth because if you know that the plateau is coming, you can prepare for it. You can say to yourself, this must be the plateau. This is the testing zone. And the fact that I'm here means I've already made significant progress.
That's a really powerful way to think about it. Instead of thinking something is wrong, you think, I have arrived at the next stage.
Yes, the plateau is not the end of the road. It's the middle of the road. And the people who understand this, the people who keep going even when progress feels invisible, those are the people who eventually break through to the next level.
I want to share something personal here because I went through this. I was at the intermediate level for what felt like a very long time, and I kept thinking, maybe I have reached my limit. Maybe this is as far as I can go.
And what happened?
I kept going. Not always with great enthusiasm, I have to be honest. Some days I just did a little bit. I listened to one podcast. I read one page in English. I wrote 3 sentences in English. And then, one day, I was watching an English movie and I realized I understood almost everything without subtitles. And it happened without me noticing. The growth was happening underground in a way.
That's a perfect way to describe it, Abel, and it brings us to the next big idea we want to share today, the idea of quiet growth, or what some people call hidden progress.
Tell us about this, Anna. I know you have a beautiful story about this.
I do. I want to tell you about the bamboo tree. Now, bamboo is a plant. It's actually a type of grass, but it grows very tall, sometimes over 30 meters high. Bamboo is one of the fastest growing plants on Earth. But here's the remarkable thing about bamboo. When you plant a bamboo seed, you water it, you care for it, you give it sunlight, and for the first year, nothing happens above the ground. You see nothing, just dirt.
A whole year of nothing?
For some species of bamboo, yes, but you keep watering it, you keep caring for it. Year 2, still nothing above the ground. Year 3, nothing. Year 4, nothing. Some people would look at that dirt and say, this seed is broken, nothing is growing, I should stop watering it.
I would definitely think that.
But under the ground, something extraordinary is happening. The bamboo is building a root system, a vast, deep, complex network of roots that stretches through the soil. It's building its foundation. And then, in year 5, the bamboo shoots up through the ground, and in just 6 weeks, it can grow 30 meters tall. 30 meters in 6 weeks.
30 meters? That's incredible.
Because it spent years building its roots. All that time when nothing was visible, the plant was working. It was growing in a direction you could not see.
And this is exactly like language learning.
Exactly like language learning. When you feel like nothing is happening, when you study and still feel lost, you are building your roots. Your brain is forming new connections, new pathways. It's learning patterns of sound and grammar and vocabulary at a very deep level. And one day, just like that bamboo, it will break through the surface and your progress will become visible, but only if you kept watering it during those quiet years.
I love that metaphor so much. Keep watering it. Keep going, even when you cannot see the results.
This idea is connected to a very important word, consistency. 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 It means doing something regularly, over a long period of time, even when it is difficult. Consistency is not about being perfect. It is not about studying for 5 hours every single day. Consistency is about showing up, even when you do not feel like it, even when you feel tired and frustrated, even when you think you are not making progress.
Consistency is the quiet hero of language learning.
That is beautifully said, Abel. Yes, the quiet hero. Because it is not dramatic, it is not exciting, it is just the daily choice to try again. And that choice, made again and again over months and years, is what transforms a beginner into a fluent speaker.
Okay, so we've talked about the plateau, why progress slows down. We've talked about the bamboo tree, the idea of quiet, hidden growth. Now I want to talk about something that I think is the most personal topic of all, how we talk to ourselves.
This is so important, and it connects to a word that I want everyone to learn today. The word is resilience. 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 Resilience means the ability to recover from difficulty, the ability to fall down and then get back up, the ability to face a setback. And a setback is when something goes wrong, when you fail a test or have a terrible conversation or feel lost. The ability to face a setback and continue moving forward.
And resilience is not something you either have or you don't have. It's something you build.
Exactly right. And one of the most powerful ways to build resilience is through your self-talk. Self-talk is the conversation that happens inside your head, the voice in your mind, the things you say to yourself throughout the day. We all have this inner voice, and for many people, especially when they are struggling, that voice is very unkind.
Oh, mine was very unkind. I would make a mistake in English, and my inner voice would say things like, "You are so stupid. You will never learn this. You sound ridiculous. Why do you even bother?"
And unfortunately, that kind of self-talk is extremely common. But here's the critical thing. That voice, that unkind, critical inner voice, it is not telling you the truth. It is telling you your fear, and your fear is not facts.
Your fear is not facts. I want to write that down.
Your fear says you will never be fluent, but the fact is you are learning right now. Your fear says you are too old to learn a language, but the fact is the brain can learn new languages at any age. Your fear says you sound terrible, but the fact is every person who speaks English fluently today went through a period of sounding imperfect, every single one.
So how do we change our self-talk? How do we make that inner voice kinder?
We practice it, just like we practice English. We make it a habit to notice when the inner voice is being cruel, and then we gently, very gently, correct it. This practice is connected to another important word, self-compassion. selfcompassion. Self-compassion. It means treating yourself with the same kindness you would give to a good friend.
Can you give us an example of that?
Of course. Imagine your best friend comes to you and says, "I've been studying English for 6 months and I still can't speak fluently. I feel like a failure." What would you say to your friend?
I would say, don't be so hard on yourself. 6 months is not a very long time. You have already learned so much. Keep going. I believe in you.
Exactly. You would be kind. You would be encouraging. You would remind them of their progress. Now, why don't we say those same things to ourselves?
Because we are always harder on ourselves than we are on other people.
We are, and self-compassion is the practice of changing that. When you make a mistake in English, and you will make mistakes because mistakes are a necessary part of learning, instead of saying, "I am so stupid," try saying, "That was difficult. I made a mistake. That's okay. I am learning. I will try again."
That sounds so simple, but I know it's actually quite difficult to do.
It is difficult at first because our minds have habits, and negative self-talk is a habit that many of us have practiced for a very long time. But like any habit, it can be changed, slowly, with patience, with practice, which are interestingly the same qualities we need for learning English.
That is so true. The tools we need to learn English are the same tools we need to be kind to ourselves: patience, practice, and time.
Now, I want to talk about something that causes a lot of pain for language learners, and that is comparison, looking at other people and comparing your English to theirs.
Oh, yes, this is a big one. I used to watch videos of people who had learned English in 1 year and were speaking perfectly, and I felt terrible about myself. I thought, why can't I do that? What is wrong with me?
And this is one of the most harmful things a learner can do.
Because when you look at someone else's progress, you are seeing the surface. You are not seeing how many hours they studied. You are not seeing the challenges they faced privately. You are not seeing the moments when they also felt like quitting. You are only seeing the result. And then you compare their result to your current struggle, and that comparison is deeply unfair to yourself.
It's like comparing a finished building to a construction site. The building looks perfect and complete. The construction site looks messy and unfinished. But the construction site is where the real work is happening.
That is a wonderful way to think about it. You are the construction site. You are the work in progress, and there is nothing wrong with that. The only comparison that is truly helpful, the only one, is comparing yourself to the person you were before.
Comparing yourself to your past self.
Yes. Think about where you were 6 months ago. Think about what you could understand 6 months ago. Think about the words you knew, the sentences you could make, the confidence you had, and then look at where you are today. I promise you, if you look carefully, you will find growth.
This is so true. I remember I used to not understand a single word of English podcasts, just noise, and now I am co-hosting one. That is a huge change. But if I compare myself to a native speaker, I can still feel like I am not good enough.
Which is why comparison to a native speaker or to someone at a completely different stage is not a useful measurement. The only useful measurement is, am I better than I was before?
And the answer, if you have been studying and trying, is almost always yes, even if the improvement is small.
And this brings us to our next important idea, small victories, the power of celebrating small progress.
I love this topic because I think we have this idea that we should only celebrate when we achieve something huge, like I'll celebrate when I'm fluent. But fluency feels so far away that we never celebrate anything.
And that is a very lonely and discouraging way to live, because the truth is language learning is made of thousands and thousands of small moments, and each of those moments is worth celebrating.
Can you give some examples?
Of course, today you understood a joke in English and you laughed at the right moment. That is a victory. Today you read an English sentence and did not need to look up any words. That is a victory. Today you said excuse me or thank you in English to someone and they understood you. That is a victory. Today you listened to this podcast for 20 minutes in English at a slow but natural pace and you understood the conversation. That is a victory.
These things feel so small, but you're right, they add up.
They add up to everything. Fluency is not one big jump. It is a million small steps placed one in front of the other, and each step deserves recognition. Each step is evidence that you are moving forward. Each step is a victory over the voice that told you to quit.
I want to say something to the person listening right now. If you understood even one sentence from this podcast today, just one, that is enough. That is something. You did not waste your time. You made progress, and that progress is real, even if it feels tiny.
And this connects to something very beautiful about the English language itself. When you decide to keep going, when you choose to stay on this journey, you are not just gaining a language, you are joining a community.
Tell us about that community.
The community of English learners. There are over 1 billion people in the world who are currently learning English as a second or additional language. 1 billion people. And every single one of them has felt exactly what you are feeling right now. Every single one of them has had a day where they wanted to quit. Every single one of them has sat with a textbook and felt stupid. Every single one of them has had a conversation where they forgot the word or spoke too slowly or did not understand the response.
We are all on the same road.
We are all on the same road, and English is the bridge that connects you to all of these people. When you speak English, you can talk to a student in Brazil who is also learning. You can understand a YouTuber in South Korea who's sharing their experience. You can read the words of a blogger in Nigeria, or watch a tutorial made by someone in Poland, or have a conversation with a traveler from Japan. English opens a world of connection, and that connection is worth every difficult moment.
I remember the first time I had a real conversation with someone from another country in English. We talked for about 20 minutes, and when it was over, I felt so proud. Not because my English was perfect, it was definitely not perfect, but because I was understood, and I understood them, and that was because of English.
That feeling of connection, that is the real reward of learning a language. And you get there by persevering, by continuing day after day, even when it is hard. And that word, perseverance, perseverance, is perhaps the most important word in our lesson today. Perseverance means continuing to try hard and to work toward a goal, even when it is difficult or takes a very long time.
Perseverance is not talent. It is a choice.
It is a daily choice, and it is a choice that every successful language learner has made over and over again, on difficult days and easy days, on days when they felt proud, and on days when they felt like a complete beginner again.
Can we talk about what to do on the really hard days? Because some days it is not just a small feeling of frustration. Some days you genuinely do not want to open a book. You do not want to listen to anything. You feel completely empty.
Those days are real, and we want to be honest with you about them. On those days, we do not ask you to be a hero. We do not say, push through, study for 2 hours. On those days, we ask you to do one small thing. Just one.
Just one.
Listen to one English song. Read one paragraph. Watch one short video. Write down 3 words. Send a message to someone in English. Just one small thing. Because doing that one small thing keeps the connection alive. It keeps the habit breathing. And tomorrow, or the day after, you will have the energy to do more.
This is permission. Permission to have a slow day. Permission to not be perfect. Permission to do the minimum and still call it enough.
Yes, self-compassion in practice. Being kind to yourself on difficult days. Not giving up just because the day was hard, but also not punishing yourself for needing to rest.
There is a difference between resting and quitting.
A very important difference. Resting is intentional. You say, today I will do less. I am tired. I will give my brain time to process what I have already learned. And that's healthy. That's wise. Quitting is different. Quitting says, I will never try again. And that is the one thing we are asking you not to do today.
Never quit. Because the only true failure in language learning is stopping completely.
The only way to truly fail is to stop. As long as you are trying, as long as you are still showing up, even imperfectly, even slowly, even on your worst days, you are winning. You are succeeding. You are on the path.
I want to take a moment and just speak to the person who is feeling the most hopeless right now. Maybe you have been studying English for 2 years and still don't feel confident. Maybe you have started and stopped 3 times. Maybe you feel like everyone around you is better than you.
I see you. We see you. And we want to say this as clearly as we can. You have not failed. You are still here. And the fact that you are still here, still listening, still trying, means that something in you has not given up. There is a part of you that still believes. And that part of you is right.
That part of you is the one we are speaking to today. The part that still believes. Feed that part. Water it. Like the bamboo, keep giving it what it needs to grow underground, even when the surface is dark and quiet.
And slowly, sometimes very slowly, that growth will come. The roots will be deep enough, the foundation will be strong enough, and one day you will break through the surface. You will understand a movie without subtitles. You will speak in a meeting and not shake with fear. You will write an email and feel confident in every sentence. You will have a conversation with a stranger in English and feel something wonderful and warm in your chest. The feeling of connection, of being understood, of having crossed a bridge that once felt impossible to cross.
That moment is coming. It is coming for every person who chooses not to quit.
Now, before we close today, let's do something together.
Let's practice a small exercise in positive self-talk. I want you to say these words out loud if you can, or just read them slowly in your mind. Ready?
Ready. Say it, Anna.
I am learning. I am growing. I am making progress every day, even when I cannot see it. My mistakes are not signs of failure. They are signs that I am trying. I am resilient. I have the strength to continue. I belong on this journey, and this journey belongs to me.
Beautiful. Say those words to yourself often, because you deserve to hear them, and your brain needs to hear them, especially on the hard days.
Language learning is one of the most courageous things a person can do. You are taking the words of another culture, another history, another way of thinking, and you are making space for them inside your own mind. That takes courage. That takes patience. That takes perseverance.
And you have those things. You have already shown that you have them, because you are here. You kept going long enough to find this podcast. You kept going long enough to listen until this moment.
And we hope you keep going, one day at a time, one sentence at a time, one word if that's what it takes. Keep going.
Keep going, because the language is waiting for you. The community is waiting for you. The version of you that speaks English with confidence is waiting for you. And that version of you is closer than you think.
We want to say one final thing before we close. We have talked today about the plateau, that difficult, slow period where progress feels invisible. We have talked about the bamboo tree and how growth happens underground before it becomes visible. We have talked about self-compassion and the power of speaking kindly to yourself. We have talked about comparing yourself to your past self, not to others.
We have talked about small victories and how they add up to something enormous. And we have talked about the community of learners that English opens up to you.
All of these ideas come back to one central truth, one sentence, the one sentence we want you to carry with you after this podcast ends.
The only way to truly fail is to stop. As long as you are trying, you are winning.
Say it with us. The only way to truly fail is to stop. As long as you are trying, you are winning.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. You chose to use 20 minutes of your day to practice English and to encourage your own heart. That was not a small thing. That was a brave and beautiful thing.
We are proud of you. We really mean that, not as a polite thing to say, but because we understand the effort it takes to keep going. And you are keeping going, and that makes you someone worth being proud of.
If this episode helped you today, please share it with someone else who needs to hear it. Maybe they are also sitting with their books feeling tired. Maybe they also need someone to tell them, don't give up on yourself.
And in the comments, tell us your story. When was a time you almost gave up, but you kept going? Share it in English. Practice your writing. Inspire someone you will never meet. Because your story matters. Your journey matters. I'm Anna.
And I'm Abel. Thank you for being part of the English journey. Keep going. We will see you in the next episode.
Goodbye for now. And remember, your roots are growing, even when you cannot see them. The bamboo is coming. Stay patient, stay kind to yourself, and never, ever stop.
Never stop. Goodbye, everyone. We believe in you.